We are in the medical center area, and you can see there are dozens of volunteers right now that are lining up at this moment to walk through a wooded area. We're about a mile from the apartment where Lina Khil went missing, disappeared 9 days ago. And this story has really captured the hearts of so many people in the San Antonio area. And so this volunteer group has set up a search that's happening right now, and you can see how far they're trying to span out. They want to cover as much ground as humanly possible. And you may notice that I'm holding something in my hand here. In this bag is one of Lina Khil's dresses. The family was nice enough to lend it to us because we have a canine unit that is specialized in searching not only for people who have deceased, but also for alive people. And that has had success in this area in the past. So we gave the dog this, and the dog's actually already taken off through the grass. And so the dog's way ahead of us, but that dog is a very specialized 5-year-old Belgian Malinois, and it's going to really deep into this wooded area here in the medical center off of Floyd Curl near Hamilton Wolf. If you know where that area is, you know that there's a lot of wooded area here. This is an area right on the outside of the periphery where the San Antonio Police Department is actually searching. So this is just a group of volunteers that's going even further right now to try to get as much searching as we can. And as you could see in this area, if you're not familiar with this part of San Antonio, you could see how much grass and how tall it is. And this is the groups of volunteers here that are going to be going through here meticulously through this tall grass. And I'm going to just be quiet for just a moment now so my camera guy can get some of the natural sounds of what's happening around us so we can use that for our story later. So give me one moment. This is a meticulous process as we make our way through this brush here, and they're going to be checking everything. Usually, if you look behind you, they're inspecting a barrel that was discarded in this area. That's one of the many things that they're looking for, is any possible place where you could hide a small child. Lina Khil, 3 years old, you know, very small. Last seen in a red and green dress. And so hopefully the red would stick out if she was still in that dress. As I mentioned, it's been 9 days, but I talked to the woman who has Bach, which is the Belgian Malinois. And she tells me that dog has been successful in finding people who have been missing for more than 2 weeks. And so the level of difficulty here, I mean, honestly, we're in probably one of the easier areas to search. As you can see, we got this gentleman here looking into this tree. There are some very thick wooded areas that people are slowly making their way through. And this is something where you need to be incredibly meticulous in looking exactly in every single spot that you possibly can, because you want to make sure you can completely grid off this area and say that there's no sign and no evidence in these spots. As I mentioned, the dog's already run through this area, and we've got probably around 30 folks, many of which have volunteered in other searches for other missing people. The Baby James case, you may remember, Andrew McDonald, among other cases that happened throughout the state of Texas. So these are, you know, all these people are volunteers. Many of them are experienced. Many of them are former law enforcement. But at the end of the day, they're just boots on the ground, looking for any sign of Lina. And, you know, you can't leave any stone unturned. Thankfully, this is winter here in South Texas. This would be actually a little bit dangerous in the summer with the potential of having rattlesnakes and other wildlife in the area. But temperatures have been cold, but not freezing, potentially survivable. And you'll notice I'm being quiet at certain points just so my cameraman can get some of the natural sounds of what's happening. Also with us today, not only do we have the dog, they also have 2 mediums that are here as well. And I know a lot of people could probably be skeptical about that, but according to the volunteers that run this, or the people who run this volunteer organization, those can actually be incredibly successful in helping find people. They say they were successful in helping lead to the discovery of Andreen McDonald, among other cases as well. So, but at this point it kind of just shows how much people are willing to try anything to try to find this little girl. And so we're actually pretty significantly far ahead compared to some of the people that are going through that heavily wooded area. It's much more difficult to go through, but they have to go through it. They're looking for any article of clothing, anything that looks suspicious at all. If they do, they kind of raise their hand, they shout. And if there's anything of note, anything that they want to have the San Antonio Police Department look at, we're going to call that sergeant that's running this case and get them here as quickly as possible to either verify if it is evidence that needs to, be a part of the case, or if it's not. They are going to be out here basically until they get too tired to continue to walk, and a lot of that is actually gauged on how much energy the dog has, because the dog's kind of the most key element in this search area. So that's what we're dealing with here.